It was a strange and terrible day in Boston. A disaster unlike any other struck the city. This disaster was not a fire, it was a flood of thick, dark, sticky molasses. The date was January 15th, 1919. The place was Boston's busy North End neighborhood. A giant metal tank stood tall near the waterfront. This tank held millions of gallons of molasses. Suddenly, this enormous tank burst apart. Sweet, sticky molasses, usually harmless, became a deadly, destructive wave. The massive tank belonged to the Purity Distilling Company. It stood 50 feet high and measured 90 feet across. Inside, it held over 2 million gallons of crude molasses. This molasses was used to make industrial alcohol. The tank was located in a crowded area. Homes, businesses, stables, and a fire station were all nearby. Many working-class families, including many Italian immigrants, lived there. The weather on that January day was unusual. It was unseasonably warm for Boston in winter. The temperature had been very cold just days before, but on January 15th, it climbed quickly. Around 12:30 in the afternoon, the disaster began. A deep, rumbling sound filled the air. The steel walls of the giant tank ripped apart. 2.3 million gallons of dark, heavy molasses exploded outwards. The wave of molasses was a monstrous sight. It rose to an estimated height of 25 feet. It moved with incredible speed. Experts later calculated its speed at about 35 miles per hour. This was not like a wave of water. It was a dark, thick, viscous tsunami of syrup. It crashed through the streets of the North End. It engulfed everything and everyone in its path. Buildings were smashed into pieces. Wooden homes were lifted from their foundations and then crushed. The force was like a giant, sticky battering ram. The molasses wave brought instant horror and death. People walking in the streets had no time to escape. Horses pulling wagons were trapped and overwhelmed. The molasses was thick and heavy. It made breathing impossible. It filled noses and mouths, suffocating its victims. The air filled with screams of terror. The groaning sounds of collapsing buildings added to the nightmare. The destruction of property and infrastructure was immense. The powerful wave hit the elevated railway on Atlantic Avenue. The primary cause of the disaster was the tank itself. It was poorly designed and poorly built. The Purity Distilling Company had it constructed in 1915. The steel used for its walls was too thin. The company was in a hurry. They wanted to produce industrial alcohol quickly. Safety standards were overlooked in the rush to profit. The tank was essentially a ticking time bomb from the day it was built. There were many warnings that the tank was unsafe. It leaked almost constantly from the time it was first filled. Local residents complained frequently about these leaks. The company's response was inadequate. The unusual weather also played a significant role. The rapid rise in temperature on January 15th was critical. The immediate aftermath was a scene of desperate rescue and recovery. For several agonizing days, rescuers searched for victims. The thick, dark molasses made this work incredibly difficult. It hid bodies and made movement treacherous. It took 4 long days to find the last victim of the flood. Nurses from the American Red Cross, along with other volunteers and city workers, tended to the injured. Many people suffered from broken bones, cuts, and bruises. Others were treated for asphyxiation from the suffocating molasses. The city was in a state of shock and mourning. Cleaning up the mess was a huge and disgusting job. Millions of gallons of sticky molasses covered everything. Firefighters used powerful hoses to spray salt water on the molasses. The salt water pumped from Boston Harbor helped to break down the sticky syrup. Workers also used sand to try and absorb the goo. The cleanup took many weeks. Legal battles began soon after the disaster. The Purity Distilling Company and its parent company, United States Industrial Alcohol USIA, faced many lawsuits. The Great Molasses Flood killed 21 people. It injured 150 more. The disaster led to important changes in building codes and safety regulations.